Hi everyone, it's my great pleasure to chair this special session where we will have a special talk from Charles Sabine, the founder of EHDN No More, and we will be able to see the trailers of the 4 HD documentaries which will be screened later today during the movie night. So we will start with the trailers from the films. We will take a peek at the present, a documentary by Timothée Dallen about the journey of Dimitri Poffet, a French young man who cycled 18,000 kilometers in Latin America to raise awareness about HD through his project, Explore for Huntington. Dimitri was supposed to be here, but sadly he couldn't make it, but we will screen his documentary nevertheless, and which is a wonderful documentary. We will also watch the trailer of the documentary La Luz, The Cuidadores of Barranquitas, by Jean Del Delgado and the Factor Age Foundation, about the heroes providing care to people living with HD in Venezuela. We will be able to see a few seconds of the short dance film Little Movement by Micah van der Westering and Sergio Gridelli about the power of music and dance in HD. And lastly, we'll watch the trailer of Dropula and the Catheter Cigarettes, Heroes of the Huntington Home, a documentary by Anamika Shakelar and Freka Kemmers about the daily life in an HD care home. The first 2 documentaries will be screened in room A, and the last 2 documentaries will be screened in room B, and some of the directors will be there after the film to answer any questions. So let's have a look at the trailer.
Le temps passe pour tout le monde. J'ai attendu d'être touché par cette maladie pour réaliser à quel point ma vie était précieuse. Je m'appelle Dimitri Poffet, j'ai 34 ans et je suis originaire du nord de la France. Il y a 5 ans, j'ai fait un test génétique et j'ai appris que j'étais positif à la maladie de Huntington, une maladie rare, neurodégénérative, héréditaire et incurable. Des études montrent que je devrais développer les symptômes entre 35 et 40 ans. Mon père est décédé de la maladie il y a 20 ans. C'est lui qui a transmis le gène défectueux à ma sœur et moi. Ma sœur a commencé à développer les symptômes il y a 13 ans. À ce jour, il n'existe aucun remède. Et j'espère que plus les gens en parleront, plus la recherche avancera. Et plus elle avancera, plus il y aura de l'espoir pour un traitement. Quand j'ai appris à être porteur du gène, j'ai vendu toutes les choses matérielles que j'avais. J'ai abandonné mon travail dans la finance à Paris, j'ai quitté mon appartement et j'ai même quitté mon pays pour réaliser mon rêve. Voyager aux 4 coins du monde. Il y a 2 ans, j'ai acheté un vélo et j'ai commencé un voyage en solitaire du Mexique à la Patagonie. Un voyage de 18 000 km. Pendant mon voyage, je pars à la rencontre d'associations, de chercheurs et de personnes touchées par la maladie. J'ai appelé ce projet Explore for Huntington. Je veux créer de l'espoir. Et je souhaite que le jour où la maladie se manifeste, je ne ressente aucun regret. L'aventure devient un moyen de se sentir pleinement vivant. Ça devient un moyen, même pour un instant, d'arrêter le tic-tac de l'horloge de la vie. La vie est le plus beau des cadeaux. Et aujourd'hui, c'est le présent.
Is that?
Amar más, querer más. A veces me siento y me pongo a pensar y analizar las cosas. De que solamente he vivido para ello y no he pensado tampoco en mí.
Lluvia y Olma. Si supieran cuánto los extrañamos en mi casa. Nos han dejado un vacío enorme.
Mientras que uno va creciendo, uno va entendiendo las cosas. Ya ellos sabían en qué condiciones iban a llegar ellos. Siempre estuve con ellos hasta el final.
Ser cuidador es un ejercicio puramente de amor. Es amor. Es esencialmente eso.
¿Sabes que te consigas un novio? Yo también te amo. Ella se siente muy feliz cuando yo vengo a visitarla. Y le pido a mi Dios que esa enfermedad no me dé porque mis hermanos me necesitan y mis hijos. Entonces, sin palabras.
Me da nervios que yo saliera y que la gente me mirara. Yo pensaba que la gente me miraba y iba a decir, ve, ya está enfermo, ¿entendés?
Gaan jullie de taart pureren?
Ja, we vinden het belangrijk dat iedereen zoveel mogelijk alles kan blijven eten.
Ze zijn dodelijk ziek en totaal afhankelijk. De bewoners van dit bijzondere verpleeghuis.
Wil je nog de elektrische poes? Ook nog? Nou, toen maar.
De erfelijke ziekte van Huntington verwoest lijf en geest en treft hele families.
Ik zag haar en de broers natuurlijk regelmatig bij mama hier op visite komen, hè?
Maar er is in Gelderland één plek waar de verzorgers er alles aan doen om lol te brengen in hun leven.
Ja, als we maar gelukkig zijn.
Kijk naar de documentaire Dropvla en kathetersigaretten.
And now we will have the pleasure of hearing Charles Sabine, OBE, an Emmy Award-winning TV journalist who has worked for the US network NBC News for 26 years. That career took him to wars and conflicts in 35 countries and territories. In 2006, between tours of Iraq, Charles tested positive for HD and switched to the global battlefield fighting for the rights of HD families. One of his missions was an initiative called EHDN No More, and now Charles will tell us how and why. Please give a big round of applause for the one and only Charles Sabine.
Thank you, Filipa. I am so excited to be at this conference because this is the one where we really are showing we've come so far. It's amazing. Are you? Yes. So, EHDN No More. First, I'm going to show you a short film about a trip I made to South America not so long ago. And as you watch, it will become apparent who we made it for. Your Holiness, the last person you saw in that film is a 15-year-old girl from Buenos Aires called Brenda, and accompanied by Axel, the singer from Buenos Aires as well. She is going to present you a scroll describing the goals of this event for the Huntington's community. And thanks to the boundless commitment of Professor Elena Catania and Nacho Munoz, and the financial support from Teva and Wicklow Capital, we brought those people from the villages they had never left before to the Vatican to meet their Pope, including the Soto's family there. You see them there, a family from Barranquitas, Venezuela, which provided much of the blood for Jim Gasella to locate the marker for the Huntington gene, on July 15th, 1983, one of the most important moments in the history of genetics. And yet, before that day at the Vatican, no world leader had ever even met an HD patient on a world stage, or even spoken the words Huntington's disease on a global stage. But it hasn't always been like that. Some of you will be aware of my story, how I switched from battlefields like that, Gaza, with the conviction of the suicide bombers all around me, to the disease decimating my family, going all in to mess HD up. And that's where I soon discovered a phenomenon unique to HD, encapsulated in this seemingly innocuous family photo. There was someone missing from that picture, and my parents knew it. A half-brother, Nigel, who I never knew existed almost all of his life because he had wrongly been assumed to be the son of my uncle Tony, who had Huntington's disease. My family went to extraordinary lengths to hide Tony's existence, burning photographs and changing his death certificate. I took that picture of the day I met my brother Nigel, months before he died. He had spent a decade in care with no visitors, unaware that he had any family to give a damn whether he lived or died. And outside of this room, people think that story's shocking. But in our world of Huntington's, it's far from extreme. Indeed, among the hundreds of HD families I've met around the world, those who have not gone through some form of hidden reality or denial are very rare indeed. Shame, stigma, and fear conspire to undermine truth, and that deception compounds the relentless cycle of misery. Indeed, not just that, I soon realized that of all the complex challenges facing our community, every single one is made profoundly worse by HD being so hidden. So, how to fix that? This was the first Hidden No More banner at 10 Downing Street in 2010, and this UK all-party parliamentary group, which I started with the late Sir Mike Rawlins, was the first political representation for HD anywhere, and its launch became the biggest ever public gathering of HD families. And as a result of that APPG, we proved with data something that had seemed to me obvious, that the prevalence of HD was wildly underestimated. In fact, we found it was more than twice that previously believed. And when we began that study, there were all sorts of disparities between data inputs which simply didn't add up. Ministry of Health statistics didn't match tetrabenazine prescriptions and so on. And we couldn't figure these out until we set up in-person, confidential interviews with primary care workers, GPs. And many of them admitted that at the request of the HD families, they had written other ailments to HD, say ordinary dementia, on official NHS records and death certificates to help hide their secret. So, doubling the prevalence in the UK would, I reckon, logically apply everywhere, and at least to populations of European descent. And it was quickly replicated in British Columbia, Canada, by Michael Hayden's team. But it was at this event in London where I first witnessed the cathartic effect of HD families raising their heads above the parapet. A history of that day, compounded by Jackie Harrison for Huddersfield University, described that empowerment. A young woman who had just lost her mother to HD said this: "For the first time, I no longer felt alone. And that was the same environmental enrichment I have witnessed time and again in interviews with participants in Enroll-HD, actually benefiting by feeling part of a mission and not alone, whilst at the same time bringing about data unmatched in any equivalent disease. And this perfect storm of engagement, enabled by the wonderful HD family organizations, has created win-win for everyone. Every single major advance in HD research has emanated from patient participation, and I firmly believe have simultaneously improved the health of the participants. And as Hidden No More became a foundation, it was laser-focused on addressing one issue organizations devoted to research and care didn't have the time or the resources to ask: why HD families remain so hidden? So back now to the biggest Hidden No More event so far. Brenda was a 15-year-old girl we brought with her doctor, Claudia Perendones, from Buenos Aires. Pupils at her school had been told by their parents not to touch Brenda in case they caught her disease. And then the leader of more than 1 billion Catholics declared to a global audience the 3 words I first wrote on a pub beer mat.
Oggi però siamo qui perché vogliamo dire a noi stessi e a tutto il mondo: hidden no more, occulta nunca más, mai più nascosta.
And by the way, if you haven't seen it, that day and the events leading up to it was made into a short film, Dancing at the Vatican, which you can see in 6 languages on YouTube or Amazon Prime. And if you want to know more about my story, you can see that you can watch this 13-minute talk on the TED platform. So listen, there are still lots of reasons why people hide HD. You can lose your job, your insurance, your partner. Real issues which, to most families, outweigh the perceived benefits of testing and engaging with research. But we are moving the axis, and as soon as any one of these dozens of companies now engaged in finding therapies gets approval, and trust me, some are very close indeed, then the scales are going to tip even more. Every single one of you here is part of this unprecedented collaboration, shifting momentum into a perfect spiral. Fewer families hiding HD brings more engagement with fewer families hiding HD brings more engagement with research, which in turn brings more potential treatments to lure people out of the shadows. But you know the biggest incentive in all of this? To me, it's not a matter of logistics, but principle, ending the shame which is so unfair. The brother who I did know, John, was a brilliant lawyer who held the principle of justice above all else. But he never had reason to even know that our family's shame was grounded in such illogical prejudice. For John and the Soto family and all the thousands of Enroll-HD participants around the world who are changing the course of medical history, as long as I can walk and talk, I will battle that injustice, because and the reason I will do that is because I am so proud to share with them the expanded Huntington gene. Thank you.